Hello, you're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live conversation web TV portal. Well, three American social media giants played a very significant role in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections: Twitter, Google, and Facebook. Well, political parties as well as candidates raced to deliver breaking news and spread their messages on these platforms. So to find out exactly what kind of a role the social media played in Narendra Modi's tremendous victory, I have with me in the studio Vineet Goenka, the national co-convener of BJP's IT cell. Vineet, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure always to come here.
I have Manas Gulati, the founder of ARM Digital. Manas, thank you so much for joining. And I have with me on Google Hangout, Shaily Chopra. Shaily, of course, is a well-known television anchor, business journalist. She has just written a book called The Big Connect, Politics in the Age of Social Media. Shaily, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I also have with me on Skype Mahima Kaul of ORF and also Rakesh Kumar, who is the editor of Social Samosa. I thank all of you for joining the conversation. Rakesh, yes, I can see you. Rakesh, can you hear me? All right. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Okay, first let me talk to Vineet. Vineet, tell us about this whole strategy. How did you think of it? Because in 2009, Shashi Tharoor was actually the only person who was active on social media. And in 2014, there was not one politician who wasn't.
2009 and 2014. Yeah.
Yes. In a span of 5 years, everybody, went on the bandwagon. But Narendra Modi, it seems, he was spectacularly, constantly interacting with people. How much of a difference do you think that really made in his victory this time?
Take an opportunity once again to thank people of India to give us this responsibility which has come on our shoulder.
Right.
And I'm sure like the way we have taken care of the responsibility of party and we will also take care of the responsibility in the coming years.
Right.
Right. See, in a political party, there are various tools to reach out people. The primary tool is to do something which is called as Ghar Ghar Chalo Abhiyan, where you go actually to the voter's house and you connect with them, because that is what we get votes for. And it is supplemented with various other activities and strategies. In this, social media was one of the part of this, and one part was social media. So let me humbly accept that we were not the only force within BJP which has got BJP a victory. We are one part of that.
No, of course. But
yeah. But what happened is, I always like to speak something which probably my co-panelist Mahima and Shaily would have heard this earlier in some other conversations with me. But let me repeat that. See, what happens is, let me divide three different strategies which were going on, three different approaches which were there in the elections for the last, 40, 45, 50 years or 60 years. Earlier, there used to be one-to-many concept.
Yes.
Where the leader stands on a stage.
He
addresses a rally. Thousands of people come there. If they appreciate, they clap, then he is the leader. His policies have been taken care of. So you have, we used to call it
a good orator.
Then there came an era of this mainstream channels and all.
Traditional media, per se.
Yeah, I don't know why they been called as traditional, but they were part of the new India kind of thing.
Yes.
So they started talking about this, and then it became one to many. So one leader talking to one anchor, and then in turn talking to the many people. And this was going on, and we saw a new set of leaders coming out in the society.
Right.
Be it political class or be it business class or sports. We found that, and we felt as Bharatiya Janata Party that this particular thing is not helping us out, and there is bias against us. This perception may be right or wrong, I don't want to get into this debate. But in 2008, we felt that this is a good opportunity for us to go back to the society with a new thing which is coming up, the up thing which is coming up, whereby it was one to many. One leader, one anchor to many people. So we will do away with that and we'll go to one to many, many to many. So whereby a leader goes to masses, talks about his own strategy.
So now it's become personal. It's like a one-to-one now, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a one to many and to many.
Yes.
So what I do is, when I talk to masses, I talk to masses, and somebody of that gets up and says, okay, hey Vineet, go and come. I agree with you, I don't agree with you. And it starts getting into conversation. And this conversation can lead into various things. It can talk about my ideology, it may talk about issues which the country has been facing.
Let Manas also give me his perspective on that.
See, I'm a firm believer that social media definitely played a big role this time around in having people vote for a certain party, and especially if you talk about numbers, there are around 162 constituencies which has a good internet penetration and which can influence the youth of the nation.
Right.
162 out of say 543 constituencies, in which a lot of mediums came into play, like a Twitter, a Google Plus, a Google Hangout, and Facebook as well. But given the fact that Twitter, I'm just to quote that Twitter gave a platform where people could voice their opinions, talk about people, and each party like BJP, Congress, and the other parties as well had their own teams set up in which there are three agendas: one to talk about themselves, the work they've done in the past, they're doing right now, also to pull down other people. So there were a lot of hashtags which were also
a lot of negative.
things
Let me
there.
talk to Rakesh on that. Rakesh, he's the editor of Social Samosa. Rakesh, you have done a very in-depth study of the negative tweets as well as the positive tweets. What has been your perception of this entire social media campaign? Like I was just asking Vineet, in 2009, Shashi Tharoor was the only politician on Twitter. He had about 6,000 followers. Today, between January and May, Narendra Modi had 11.1 million tweets. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, give us an analysis.
So the thing is, in 2012, when there was a censorship against internet, which was, proposed by the UPA government or one of the ministers of UPA government, that's when, all the government functionaries, they started realizing the power of social media. Very soon they realized that instead of going against social media, they should be joining it. So that's when we saw in late 2012 and early 2013, we saw a lot of politicians joining social media. We saw, the likes of a lot of politicians, say Arun Jaitley, we saw LK Advani, they all joined social media bandwagon. So that's when they started realizing that, okay, social media is going big. And Narendra Modi, he was one of the most earliest adopters. He has a huge, tremendous social media presence. He's not just present on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. He's also present on YouTube. He's also present on StumbleUpon, Flickr, Tumblr. So all these social media platforms. He's like omnipresent on social media. So that's what helped him. And regarding negativity, there are a lot of groups who are there on social media, and they all try to malign and slander each other. And it's not just one party. Every party has people who support each other and then malign each other. But that goes on. That's you can't deny that fact. But that happens. But what has happened is that a lot of people, they get influenced by the offline activities. So they start tweeting about it. They start talking about it on social media, and that again gets picked up by the online traditional media.
Right.
So if you see when Arvind Kejriwal went to Gujarat,
yes.
So there are a lot of tensions. Yeah.
Yeah, Rakesh, we will.
So when Arvind Kejriwal went to Gujarat, there are a lot of tensions that happened. Okay,
Rakesh, I just want to bring in Shaili Chopra
can you
here.
hear me?
Yeah, Rakesh, your audio is a bit. Okay, I'll just get Shaili Chopra. Shaili, you've just written a book called The Big Connect: Politics in the Age of Social Media. Now, as we all know, the way Narendra Modi took to social media, Rahul Gandhi didn't.
Yeah.
Now, do you really think that went against him? Because a lot of people say that he was not willing to answer questions directly from the people. Do you think that went against him in some way?
Well, after seeing his 1-minute press statement and not take questions, I guess I'm just not surprised at all. But yes, I think given the outcome of what Narendra Modi has witnessed, the kind of landslide he and BJP have got,
yes.
I think there's a big aspect of Narendra Modi's personality which may have been completely absent if he wasn't on social media today. We cannot discount the fact that he was able to connect with people who have voted him in. And a large number of those people have been urban voters as well. Urban voting is a phenomenon which has been absent in the Indian democratic system, and that was something that he needed to urge, literally finger to get voters in. So I think Narendra Modi's social media presence was, if not one of the biggest, but a very core reason why he got into action on you know. On a political front. So I think one has to credit social media, Narendra Modi's embracing of it, and then using digital tools like the way he used. I don't want to hurt Vineet by saying that Modi actually beat BJP in the kind of tools that he and his digital teams put together. Even BJP didn't know what was happening to that extent of how Modi put out some of his ideas in place.
Yeah, but Shelley, this is in a country where internet penetration is about, what, generously speaking, 11%?
That's a criticism, that's a question that comes all the time. And I just answered it with two very simple points. One, it's a democracy where the urban voter was absent, so it needed to shake up their conscience and tell them to get out there and vote. I think they've certainly added to the numbers of this record voter turnout. And two, why do we discount that the rural voter will not be internet connected? I mean, the concept of the e-Chopal has been wonderfully working in various parts of this country.
All right.
And it's important for us to ensure that some of these, villages eventually log in. I mean, BPO outsourcing is an idea that is finding a new lease of life in rural India. So let's give that villager, the person in the village rather, or rural Indians, a little more credit than they are getting at this moment.
All right, let me bring in Mahima Kaul of ORF at this point. Yeah. Mahima, you just heard what Shelley and Manas have said, do you have a theory, the fact that the parties have actually used social media and planned their election campaigns accordingly, which, as Shelley pointed out, Narendra Modi has done very deftly, which probably Rahul Gandhi failed to do. How do you see that as having really affected the result that we've seen yesterday?
Okay, so couple of sort of numbers to keep in mind when we talk about this.
Yes.
India's the Twitter base in India is about 33 million people, which is about less than 3% of our entire population. So
right.
What we're talking about in terms of social media usage is a pretty small number of people, but I do agree with Shelley that the country is going to be connected. So there's no reason to discount it. All right, just by saying it's urban pockets, because these numbers are going to increase. So whoever's made a very strong base right now, they will only expand on that base. But I think one more thing about social media that we, should recognize is that it's an industry now. If reports are to go by, and I'm sure Vineet can tell us more details, but about 35 lakhs were invested in the BJP social media center, right?
We will talk about the spending. Of course, we will talk about that with Vineet.
So I won't get into spending, but what I'm saying is it's an investment, It's not just that people are sitting around on social media and retweeting and talking, but I think political parties have invested considerable resources.
That's what I said, planning campaigns around social media. That's
planning campaigns. So it's not just sort of a natural phenomena. So I think we've understood that in India now. And I think that if you talk about who's winning from the people who have done research on this, BJP was mentioned about 30,000 times a day on social media. It's an average. Aam Aadmi Party was about 30 to 35,000 times a day. That's a number. The Congress was lower, 15 to 20,000 times a day. And I'm sure we can find somebody who analyzes this, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, and their lack of enthusiasm on social media, unlike the other parties. So I think these are really important things. And I also think that when we're discussing this, in the future, we should expand our scope from social media to other forms of technology, like the 3D holograms and the kind of impact that we also had.
It almost seems as if Narendra Modi did nothing wrong. Even the 3D hologram technology that he used, Vineet, let me just get your...
So let me tell you, see what happened, we were analyzing, this is all about which was going on in 2010. We were facing a criticism in the televisions where people were trying to beat us for nothing which were not done wrong by us, like 2002 and all this kind of thing. And we were trying to tell everybody, saying that, see, we have not done this. We have tried to do everything which is good. And there are a lot of good things in Gujarat. But what was happening is that the media was not that supportive. And I feel personally, and also the party felt that time, is that we had challenge to communicate with the media. So what we use is something called as the model of P2P and P2V in this. So we started communicating with P2V, we is basically to communicate with the voters, so party to voters, and P2P is party to party men. And what we thought is we will try to take this on the social media.
All right, let's just take a look at this Google image. This has been done by Kato DB. What you're seeing, this was very interesting. In fact, a lot of websites picked this up, and what you're actually looking at are the number of tweets that have come out for various parties. The orange there is the BJP, and I think the green is Aam Aadmi Party, and blue is Rahul Gandhi, and orange is Narendra Modi. Okay, so these are the, you can see in the whole of India, the kind of trends that we saw on social media. And I think this is very interesting and very attractive also to look at. Manas, let me bring you in on this. We were talking about, the internet penetration, and I was just trying to, just before the conversation started, I was telling you that no, but the numbers can't be that many. But here it seems that, it's actually a different scenario.
Yeah, so basically like it's widespread.
But what about, let me complete my question. What about the 316 constituencies who are not there?
The number which Manas said
Yes.
is academically correct, 162. It
Yeah.
is incorrect in absolute terms. If somebody understands Indian penetration of the mobile phone, in the last 3 years,
Yeah,
the
it's not
smartphones have reached to the last corner of
Yeah.
the
Even Manas was saying that people
point I
are,
was about to
farthest,
say.
Yeah.
the northeast part, the last.
even in the
voting
rural
centers,
areas,
Even the
people are
rural
asking
areas
for.
to Andamans and
Yeah.
wherever. So you see smartphones been traveling in the hands of the youths there. And what has happened is when
The rural youth.
Yeah, it's rural. So I'm talking about villages in Bhuj. I'm talking about villages in Assam. I've traveled to Rajasthan, some places. In Andaman also, if you go there, the youth carry mobile which are smartphone.
Smartphone,
They have
yeah.
internet
So
connection.
we,
Manas.
so we work for a mobile phone company as well. So one of the prior needs of anybody in a rural area is that it should have a WhatsApp and it should have a Facebook account embedded in it. So that is one of the prerequisites whenever anybody goes. So by 162, I'm not saying like 162 would be as in majorly affected. There are other regions as well, and I'm not saying that 162 in specific. There's convergence of media, of course. So whenever you look at a TV, you look at all the TV channels which are there and all the Hindi channels, they put up tweets of whatever people's opinions are. So that is, what convergence of the media has come into. And because, online as a medium is interactive, you don't get, that in other mediums that widespread. So that effect, is, there's a rip over effect on the other mediums as well. Be it print, be it TV, be it all the other mediums. So that way,
As far as
online works
urban
very
usage
well.
is concerned, we have a little infographic to show you there. Obviously the urban, as even, Shelly was saying, that, okay, we can see that on our screen. You can see that social networking is 72%, Of course, emailing is the highest with 80%, but of the total urban active internet users, social networking, people are actually using it even more than gaming, more than chatting. They're using social networking as a platform. I think that's very interesting. And in fact, right now I would like to get Rakesh back. Rakesh, your analysis on the urban versus the rural social networking users.
So, social media is primarily there in the tier 1 cities, but it's also gaining ground in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And what has happened is that, what we usually mean by social media is just the presence of Facebook, but we need to go beyond that. We also have to include the concept of WhatsApp, instant messaging on mobiles into social networking as well. If you count those numbers, the number is very huge. Yeah. We have village people using WhatsApp. Even in basic smartphones, in very cheap smartphones, you will have WhatsApp. And a lot of political parties have used WhatsApp. They have created their own WhatsApp groups, and they spread a lot of messages. In fact, I came across one Facebook update where in Jammu Kashmir, one party had released saying, this is our WhatsApp number. If you want to stay connected with us, just give us a ping. So WhatsApp has been the most driving factor when it comes to spreading a message in rural areas, in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities.
Right. Okay. Narendra Modi's tweet, as soon as the results were announced, India has won, Bharat ki vijay, अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं. That particular tweet was favorited
More than
37,546.
that now.
Now it is gone up.
It's
Gone up.
gone
Yeah,
up.
it's gone up,
No,
it's
it
gone
was
up.
within a few minutes, and it was
Yeah.
retweeted about 61,000 times.
Now
within
it's 67,000.
67,000
It's
times.
gone up.
Yeah.
See, he has a follower base of 14 million
Yes.
Facebook
Yeah.
users
Yes.
and 4.1 Twitter.
I think that's only
followers.
second after Obama.
Yeah.
That's second after
So
Obama.
one thing
Yeah.
we'll have to realize that is that certain pundits who were giving these numbers of 162 constituency and all, we had realized that way back in 2010 that if we use this technology properly, so it's a blend of many channels and medias which we have used. So social media with the traditional media and also the efforts of the Karyakartas which came together. We'll have to realize that corruption was so high that the youth wanted some way to air their own views, and they aired their views on WhatsApp, Twitter.
Let me just bring in Mahima. Mahima, even CNN has said that in the Indian elections of 2014, social media became the new election battleground. CNN itself has said that. India has over 100 million Facebook users, which is second only after the United States of America. Where are we going with this politically?
Okay, 2-3 things to think about since we're talking about where we are going with this.
Yeah.
One, of course, is that I think social media has been benefited greatly by the mainstream media. I like to use the term low-hanging fruit, but I do feel the mainstream media does pick up a lot of what's going on Twitter and, amplifies it to the rest of the country, which is not on social media.
Right.
So people who haven't experienced Facebook and Twitter, they seem to know what it is and they want to get on it. So I think it's not just, it doesn't exist in a vacuum in India's context. And so I think that it will only gain more prominence if the BJP, now that it's the ruling party and with quite an impressive majority, continues to use it. The second thing is, if you're moving ahead, I think that we need to now concentrate on not just the aspect of using social media, but really what powers social media. And I think we're going to have to start discussing infrastructure. We're going to have to start discussing broadband speeds and how to get the rest of the country on a platform such as this. And Vineet, there's a new study which you may or may not have seen, which ranks sort of the speed that each country offers, the speed of the internet. And India has been ranked 123rd in the world. And
Yes,
in fact, if you talk to you talk to industry people, and they say that, from the speeds being given in cities or in villages, the actual experience of what people are using right now is anywhere from 80% to 20%. So I think that these are questions that we will have to look at.
Right.
The
Let
infrastructure.
me bring in Shelly here once, please. Shelly, I have two questions for you. One is, of course, we are talking about the whole, we are all gung-ho about social media. But what about the hazards? What about when, for example, on May 14th, Amaresh Mishra, in Gurgaon, he was arrested for apparently objectionable and inflammatory posts against the BJP and the RSS. What do you have to say about that? Airing your opinions or voicing your
He was
opinions.
arrested by whom and which government? It was BJP. It was
He was arrested in Gurgaon.
okay on 14th of May
yeah.
by the current.
Yes, the police. He was arrested, and apparently there were lots of complaints that he was posting a lot of inflammatory material. So, what about that freedom? Where does that really go?
I think one has to question what is freedom and what isn't. Social media is a new space in which everybody is still in an experimental mode.
Yes.
For those who've had successes and for those who are sort of learning to deal with its failures. It's important to note that while social media remains a very smart tool and it's not quite a toy either, so one has to build in a construct which allows for self-regulation. At the same time, it also takes care of these inflammatory remarks by people. At the end of the day, it's a medium of influencing others. If there are people who are new to the medium and are just about learning about how to tweet or how to post or how to learn about politics, they are likely to get impressed or they remain impressionable from the amount of the rather highly voluminous amount of social media that's thrown at them. So there is an influencing factor attached to it.
Right. In
So I
fact,
think
Shelley, in 2012, various political parties had in fact asked for a ban on social media sites after the Assam riots. Social media was
I
blamed.
wouldn't go to the extent of suggesting there needs to
Of
be
course.
a ban or regulation. Remember, the minute you try and do that to any form of media, whether it's online or otherwise, you're going to be giving far too much power to those who can ban it on various reasons,
Absolutely.
find an excuse.
That is a clamping
However,
down. Yeah.
the idea of using social media is that this is a networking space of the public, and therefore the majority is able to suggest that there is a trend that must be followed of decorum, of behavior, and what can or cannot be said. I think there are a fair number of people online who are able to block, who are able to highlight what is inflammatory comments. So I would say that there is a credibility crisis with respect to social media on certain occasions, but I don't think they are anywhere near outweighing the benefits of this medium, which allows a personable reach between people and their leaders, and also allows people to have a view and then share that view without having a barricade in the middle. I mean,
All right.
Indian politics is infamous for making people who are interested in reaching out to them wait outside the bungalows in Lutyens, Delhi, and never meet them at all. So social media is making that much easier.
Right. If Shelley just talked about media and how the media is, is actually a tool after all. Yeah, Vineet.
So before I answer Shaily's question,
Yeah.
let me comment on what Mahima said,
Yeah.
that we are rated as 123. I am very interested in all that particular topic because data
but
center is my one of the lowest. I will not go on that because once I go on to that, then entire course of this thing. But Rahul Gandhi is really happy that our speeds are not good.
Political
Yeah.
no
So
this is
so
not
coming back
we are
to
not
what-
going to have a BJP Congress
Okay. So let me
year
now
here.
come
Let's
back
just
and-
talk about
yeah,
stick this discussion
and
to
let
social
me come
media,
out and
please.
see to the pointer which Shaili has talked about.
Yeah.
There have been incidences where the UPA government, the past UPA government, acted and arrested a couple of people,
Yeah.
be it Palghar or be it somebody in the Tamil Nadu who wrote against China. These kind of incidences are high-handedness of the establishment. But whereas where people write inflammatory things which are against the law, which are not seen into the good taste, and if there has been a cases where there has been arrest, I think they are justified. So what we'll have to
There
do
is a very
is the
interesting
freedom.
Listen to a very we will be playing it in a short while, where somebody has talked about how the entire media has rallied around one person and one person only. We'll be playing that for you in a little bit. So be ready for that. Be ready to answer that for us.
Sure, I'll do it.
She's a very well-known student leader and she's talked about that. I would like to get even Rakesh's opinion on that and Manas's opinion on that. We'll be playing it shortly for you, but please continue what you were saying. Yeah.
So, what we'll have to do is, as this medium is new and whenever something novelty which comes up, people tend to use it in various ways. There may be certain section of society which may not know how to use it right now. What we'll have to do is, A, educate the society, regulations which will prevent defamatory things coming up. It cannot be, the freedom
Can
cannot
I quickly
be.
get Manas and ask him one question that has been kind of in my
I'll
mind?
just make one sentence so that which will make
yeah,
sense. Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
freedom cannot be given to an extent whereby somebody else's freedom is corrupt. So if I start writing something personally against you, which is not
Yes.
correct, then if the establishment takes action, then it is right. But if I want to air something on ideologies, on the issues and which are of social importance, or something which is not in the bad taste or not unparliamentary, then I think there should
Manas,
not be.
what about fake accounts? You have so many people who have created fake accounts in the name of even a Narendra Modi,
Yeah, yeah.
in the name of
We have a lot
political
of
parties.
Narendra Modis on
A lot of
Twitter.
Narendra
Yeah,
Modis.
yeah.
How they are also ultimately influencing. So shouldn't there be some kind of a governance on that?
See, there's not much of an influence of these fake accounts. They only add on to the number. And even if you look at the cloud score and the influence score of these people, it won't count out to a sizable amount of the number of people who are following Narendra Modi
Right.
or anybody else. So fake accounts, I would say, would be a long tail and would not be more than a 10% or a 5%
Regarding-
influence on the overall
Okay.
impression which it has on people.
Okay, so regarding how the a very prominent student union leader, what she feels about the way the media has rallied behind one man, let's take a quick look at what she has to say.
इलेक्शन माने किसी भी लोकतंत्र में चुनाव का मतलब है कि जनता अपना प्रतिनिधि चुनेगा और वो प्रतिनिधि चुनने की प्रक्रिया में क्या फैक्ट है, क्या पॉलिसीज़ कोई प्रतिनिधि सामने ला रहा है, किसी एक खास व्यक्ति के बारे में क्या इन्फॉर्म, अगर चुनाव इसके आधार पे लड़ा जाना चाहिए तो इस बार का चुनाव हम लोग देखेंगे कि सिर्फ एक व्यक्ति उसके नाम पे माने पूरा पब्लिक स्पेस का जितना डेफिनेशन हो सकता है, सारा वेबसाइट, सारा होर्डिंग, न्यूज़पेपर का सारा फ्रंट पेज, हर एक टीवी चैनल में, नॉट ओनली मीडिया, हर एक टीवी चैनल में हर एक आधे घंटे में 3 बार नरेंद्र मोदी का ऐड 30-30 सेकंड का।
All right, let me quickly take Shaily's reaction. Shaily, you heard what Sucheta Dev was saying, the president of ISA. She's saying that the entire thing was centered only around one man, Narendra Modi. Your quick comments on that. We'll have to wrap up the show.
Yeah. But if that's the point that she's making, that the entire social media activity around Modi was
No, she
around
talks
Modi,
of media broadly. She talks of hoardings, she talks of newspapers, she talks of advertisements. She's talking of the media broadly, but she's saying that it's only been one man.
Okay, I think the world over, people get impressed by leaders. And this is my social media view, that when you're trying to build a personality, you're looking for charisma, you're looking for a decision-making man at the helm in a country which is beginning to suggest that they were highly frustrated over the last 4 years, if not more. There was change at the center of this entire campaign. I think what worked for Modi to be able to make this first big attempt at the prime ministerialship and having bagged it is the fact that the Congress helped him do it. So let's not make it about Modi managing to get a massive social media play alone. The absence of Rahul Gandhi was adding to the presence of Modi.
Right.
The absence of the Congress and its aggressive activities was adding to the might of BJP online. And I think what happened is that people started realizing that the youth, those who are looking to add themselves into this 800 million plus voting pool, they spend majority of their day on their timelines. So if that's the case, who are they seeing on the timelines? I have two people who told me in the last 10 minutes on one of the articles I wrote from Midday today that their sons were interested in Narendra Modi because that's the person they get to see and follow.
The visibility factor, you're talking about. Shaily, we have another quick video response. Again, let's take a quick look at that before we continue.
चुनाव प्रोसेस में एक व्यक्ति के पीछे इतना पैसा खर्च हो रहा है, कोई भी काउंटर फैक्ट को वैनिश अवे कर दिया जा रहा है, ये पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है? अगर चुनाव जनप्रतिनिधि चुनने के लिए है तो ये पैसा किसका है और पैसा जो दे रहे हैं हमारा जनप्रतिनिधि, क्या उनके लिए काम करेंगे या जनता के लिए काम करेंगे? These are some fundamental questions which the media should have asked, and I think it's up to us now, up to us who think that we are progressive. हम लोगों को नरेंद्र मोदी कैंपेन के में उसका जो सच्चाई है वो जनता के सामने लाना पड़ेगा, ये पैसा कहाँ से आया.
All right, is that your reaction, Vineet? Vineet is doing this. Okay,
So
Vineet, let me ask you, how much did you spend on?
I'll be taking 3 to 4 minutes on that. Is it okay?
No,
because this has been
no, I can't give you more than 1.5 minutes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
See, first of the fact is that what we have talked about. We have
No, you just tell me how much have you spent on Narendra Modi's social media campaign? Give me a number.
I have not spent a single penny. Believe this or not.
You've not spent a single penny?
I have not spent a single penny from myself. Neither my channels have done it. Shaily wants to speak something. I know Shaily wants to speak something, and if the producers can give that what Shaily wants to. I'm unable to see.
No,
her
wait. No, you first say what you had to. Quickly.
Now, and
we have to wrap up.
So she has blamed 3-4 things on us. One of the things she said is that we were present everywhere and we were coming every 30 seconds. So how much money has gone there? Social media is not about paying money. Social media is to be there. And if we would have paid money, we would have paid money to these so-called fake accounts or the trolls or the people who have done it. They would not have converted into so many votes. I was trying to see how many votes we have got, and almost around 12 crore votes have been voted for us. Now, we do not have resulted in so many seats. So people have to understand, whoever has spoken this should understand that if you buy space in media, you can't buy votes. And to say blatantly saying that you can buy votes in this country by buying media space, then believe me, the earlier regime had made money in scams. They had tons of money to do it.
Alright, like I
A.
said, let's not
Two,
go down that road.
Yeah, so no,
Yes.
we are not going. But I'll have to answer her because she has blamed us. See, we talked about our issues and our ideologies. Youth took it up and multiplied it. So the intensity was multiplied by the youths, not by us. A. And B, while you take video
Manas
of
is
Suchita
shaking his
Didi,
head.
I'll tell you. While you take videos of Suchita Didi, who is a prominent student leader, also we'll have to see how much space she does have in in the student politics. You should have gone. Seriously have space. You should have gone to DYFI, SFI or to ABEP or to BVS, who are the real representatives of the student politics. I am a student leader from my college days. ISA does not even have 0.5% of representation in the students. Not even 0.5%.
Okay, Manas,
not even 5 cities. So
Manas,
our
your
knowledge is
reaction-
very
your
limited.
reaction
I'm
to
sorry
the-
to say that, but Suchita
No,
Didi has to widen her
let's talk
scope,
about
and
the
that's the reason
funding.
they are very small.
Let's talk about the funding.
See, something is wrong if content creation is being bought. It is not wrong if you are advertising. So, according to the claims of Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, and everybody put together, online in these elections have been around 500 crores, which is close to 4 to 5% of the overall marketing spends which are there. And if somebody comes on, online and speaks about themselves, I think it was a very well marketed campaign, very well designed campaign.
Let me quickly get
And
Rakesh's reaction on that,
And
please.
even putting Narendra Modi as, the face of the campaign, it was a marketing strategy. It is nothing wrong to put Narendra Modi as a face of the campaign, apart from everybody else.
Rakesh, the fact that Narendra Modi seemed
not a
to
single
overshadow
person spent on
BJP
content.
everywhere and
Content
even
is
on
there.
social media. Your final thoughts on that? We'll have to wrap up the show. Your final thoughts on that?
So it is more to do with Narendra Modi's personality, his style. He has motivated a lot of people, and that has translated to social media communication. A lot of people now support him. So those who were not his supporters previously, they viewed his communication. Sorry, they heard his communication, they viewed him on TV, and then they started becoming supporters, and then they became his loyalists and evangelists on social media. They carried the word forward for him. And as far as BJP, I don't think there was any other leader as charismatic as Narendra Modi that BJP had.
All right. So,
Yeah.
so that is a more or less a consensus that seems to be emerging here. Is that what it is, Manas?
See, the thing is that, it's marketing. It's pure play marketing, even if it comes to elections. You have to represent yourselves in a manner, in a political manner, or you're talking to people and talking about economics in which, the way Narendra Modi has done in Gujarat and the way everything is being there. The way you portray things, that's the only thing.
Mahima, your final comments. Your final comments. We're wrapping up the show. You've heard this entire conversation on the power of social media, the perceived power of social media. Your final comments.
Very quickly, I just want to flag an issue that all of you were talking about a little earlier, which is about sort of governing social media, or legislating or habits on social media. I think what Shelley was saying is true. There are inbuilt controls, so you can flag a message, you can report a message. So I'm not sure that we need to take any sort of action above and beyond what is already available within social media controls. More voices around social media, we are going to have a problem of freedom of speech going in the future, and we have to see how the BJP will handle it. One is a very questionable law, Section 66A, which is open to all kinds of interpretations. So I expect a lot of cases coming around, against people who are sort of going to be anti-BJP, etc.
Who have been vocal?
Yeah, who have been vocal, and I expect that
Don't demean us
we
so
will
much.
hear cases, and hopefully
Vinita
not too
Singh,
many.
don't demean us so much. All right, Mahima, thank you.
Not at all. But the second is, and very quickly, we knew about the Congress sort of getting in touch with social media for takedown notices to remove criticism of themselves, which is sort of an extrajudicial process because they go straight to the companies. So I do hope that we don't see that similar behavior with the BJP. Seems like they trust the internet more than the Congress did. So I'm looking forward to a positive social media experience.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Mahima. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The conversation continues on IndiaPostLive.com through your audio comments, through your video comments, through your posts, and of course your tweets. Hashtag IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Thank you so much, Vineet, for joining us. Thank you so much, Manas. I would like to thank, of course, Rakesh and Shelley as well for their wonderful insights. And I think we've had a very interesting conversation on the social media. The conversation continues. Thanks. Keep watching.